National Development and Monetary Policy is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and a big thank you to our panel, especially Ms. Edie. I've been doing this a while, and I've seen witnesses who have lots of lawyers and days of preparation, and you've made a real impact in your story here. I chair the Committee on Economic Disparity and Fairness and Growth, and all over the country we found people like you who could live their dreams and contribute to the workforce if you just had that platform, which is not an automobile. Thank you. I really care about this issue because if we're going to address economic disparity, we're going to do a bunch of stuff, but housing may be first, second, or third in line. We're not spending nearly enough time this morning talking about what is the fundamental underlying issue, which is 3.8 is one estimate, million missing homes. Madam Chair, I want to place into the record some work that was done by our former colleague, Denny Heck. It's a report called Missing Millions of Homes, which talks about the supply
Without
imbalance.
objection, such is the order.
And so I want to devote my time to, we've said we should look at it, we should focus on it, stuff. What can we actually do? Now, by way of preface here, we're talking about the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve's damned if they do, damned if they don't, as long as there's not 4 million units that we need out there. The work we did on my Committee on Economic Disparity showed two things. One, lots of interference with supply associated with local zoning regulations and all sorts of other issues. And also a severe lack of supply in the workforce. Apparently, the construction workforce used to average 36 years of age in 1985. Today, it's 42. So you have an aging workforce. So my question, I'm going to start with Mr. Mitchell, but Mr. Mitchell, I'm going to ask you to be real brief because I want to hear from our other witnesses. What specifically can the Congress of the United States do to address the supply? And let me say, too, LIHTC, I get it. I worked with LIHTC. There's actually bipartisan support for increasing LIHTC. 2 million units, that's good stuff. But apart from tax subsidies, what else can the Congress do to rapidly allow for the construction of some 4 million units in this country?
Absolutely, Congressman. I think one of the most important things that Congress can do is to continue to make large public investments. I think things that have been targeted in the Build Back Better, specifically billions of dollars for the Housing Trust Fund, resources to renovate stock that's already available and make sure that it is quality and affordable, would go a long way.
Any programs there that you see as particularly effective?
I would lift up, I think, really making sure that the National Housing Trust Fund would be really critical.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Let me go to Dr. Zandi on the supply question.
Yeah, I think what would really be critical is providing financing for manufactured housing. If you really want to get a lot of units out there fast, make it easier for people to get loans for purchasing a manufactured home. Right now they're chattel loans, and that's a fragmented market, very costly, very difficult. This is something that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac could be very helpful in developing a more cost-efficient, homogeneous market for those loans. And if you can do that, then you take the manufactured housing market, which today produces 100,000 units a year, to something that's meaningfully higher than that, very affordable, and can be in any community across the country. So if I was looking for something that wasn't tax-related, I'd be focused on that like a laser beam.
Thank you. I appreciate the specificity. Let me open it up a little unfairly to Ms. Bailey and Mr. Holtz-Eakin. Local zoning. I got lots of small towns that are uninterested in being told by the federal government that they've got to lighten up their zoning. So we've got a real problem without much of a lever. So let me start with Mr. Holtz-Eakin, if you would leave a little bit of time for Ms. Bailey. But what levers, if any, do we have to, I don't want to use the word coerce, but to encourage a rethink of zoning and regulation?
I think you framed it exactly right. Those regulations and zoning rules exist because they want them. And so you're going to have to somehow have a lever that causes them to change their mind. Usually that's financial, and making federal aid contingent upon the behavior at the local level. That's probably the lever that would be the one you'd want to try. And I'm happy to yield the rest of the time. That's a hard question.
It's a tough question, Ms. Bailey, but I'd love to get your perspective.
Fully enforce our nation's robust fair lending laws and fair housing infrastructure We actually have this unfounded association between race and risk that's really the root of a lot of those zoning ordinances, and we are causing the economy to underperform. So if we fully enforce our nation's fair housing and lending laws, we'd actually create equitable opportunities that could help us actually create jobs. Fair housing actually creates jobs.
Thank you. That was perfection. My time just ran out. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much.